believe we are expected to have the vice president of Indonesia here this weekend. That is Gibran Raka. So hopefully he'll be able to come and join us for the race. That would be such a thrill. Switzerland also out on the water. Italy, unfortunately, not going to be represented, even though we're here. China, Trinity, and unfortunately Sweden, Johan Johansson. That flag will not be up today. Again, we're finishing up our Parade of Nations, and we're going to be going live to racing in just 1 minute, or 2, or 3, as we get staged. I wasn't quite sure, was I? And a whole bunch of people on the live stream. Oh, there's so many of you that have chiming in that this is your village. Maiziaro. I'm probably not going to say your name right, but thank you so much for joining us. Sophia, you are from Samosir. Thank you. Tancrit is here. Maria Jose Finnel. Great to have you. Again, we are going to drop off these flags. You're watching it right here as they drop the flags and make the little transfer from models, if you will, for their country into racers for their country. Talk a little bit about what's going to happen. You've got to complete 2/3 of this 35-minute moto plus a lap to get your full points. If you hit a buoy on the wrong side, you're going to get docked 5 points. If you miss a buoy by 5 meters, you're going to get docked 10 points. And you can't get DQ'd for ignoring the course as we've discussed earlier. Now, on the start, as they get ready to go, that is going to be a regatta start. And every time they need to restack, because they're going to have to anticipate that, they will have to turn left. So let's talk a little bit more about that regatta start as they continue to drop off these flags. You can see the team members there helping them out. Our assistant race director, Bart Seegers, down there, along with more of our incredible crew from Aquabike. All right, a regatta start looks like this. You got to basically be on pause, but the engine's running. And then, you know, that's going to be tricky. So you're basically putting at a no wake speed. And they can't cross the start line before they get the call to go to the start line. So what you're going to see is the flags up from our course marshals, and then they will indicate with a whistle that there's 60 seconds left to go. And already it looks like we've got a boat that is getting towed in. Oh no, that is a heartbreaker. The gentleman that took third yesterday is getting his boat towed in. That's Teddy Pons. And you can see him leaping off of that boat super fast to try to get that thing fixed. So the gentleman that was in third yesterday is back up on the beach in an unusual turn of fate for Teddy Pons. Hey, Christian Arnaud, good morning. Romarito Cimbalon, saying proud of my country. And it looks like, guys, we are getting these guys staged up now. We're 3 minutes away from a start. Now watch the course marshals. They're going to have those flags up, and then they're going to indicate with a whistle to the riders they've got 60 seconds to be ready. And this is where it gets real interesting for strategy from the riders, because you have to have your boat pointed the right direction, but you can't go past a certain point or they will dock you for a false start or premature acceleration, as I like to say. So what they're going to want to do is make sure that they're able to time that. Now, if they are under that 60 seconds, they must turn their craft to the left in order to all stay in sync and not be running into each other. So they'll turn to the left to restack. So you'll be watching that quite a bit, where these riders are trying to anticipate that start. Man, I'll tell you, a couple of riders that did super well yesterday, and that was a Japanese rider, Isahai, and Ruben Jimenez Riquelme. as we get ready to go. You can see the course marshals down there, and they are watching very, very closely. This is critical. By the way, this was a brilliant idea by Marco Petrini to put together this style of a start. This really prevents what we would consider to be unequal starting grids when you have to start as a running start. It's much harder a lot of times to do that in endurance racing. So they wanted to make sure that they had an even start. And frankly, the way that these waterline structures are set up, there's really no way we could do a beach start for endurance, which would be a typical Le Mans start. So this is a pretty brilliant thought with this little regatta idea. So again, you'll see that these guys are starting to pivot. Oh, and the whistle's on, guys. We've got 60 seconds left before we go live. And pop the throttle. Let's see who is going to stage it the best. Got to stay behind that starting grid. So watch for that checkered buoy. You can help as well. See who's not jumping the start. They got to be behind the starting grid and see what they're trying to do. And again, the clock is on. When that flag drops, they are going to be ready to go, and it's going to be time to hit a throttle. Just waiting for that clock to count down. Final couple of seconds here. Lino Arahu having to make a quick adjustment every time they're having to turn left. Lino Arahu with a great start. Boat number 33 also with a good one. He got pushed a little bit on that final turnaround, but again, a great start for Lino Arahu, boat number 27, the gentleman that took the win yesterday after two beautiful finishes. Good morning, Maria. So just to give you a recap, Lino Arahu had 2 hole shots yesterday, and he's working a third one right here this morning at the Dairi Cup. So 3 hole shots, not too shabby for the gentleman from Portugal. All right, Lino Arahu still running up in that lead position. A great start for the gentleman from Portugal. Francois Midori is right up in there. He is battling for second. Man, he had a heck of a day yesterday. His first moto broke down and had a DNF, so really came into this one with a tough break. He had no points from moto number 1, but pulled off a 25 points in moto number 2. And as we come on to our first lap, it's Lino Arahu with the hole shot. Francois Midori in second. Michelle Kadai in third. Shen Shan in fourth. Ruben Jimenez Riquelme in fifth. Anderson back a little bit. Let me recap that. Francois, and so Lino Arahu leading, Francois Midori second, Michelle Kadai third, Shen Shan in fourth, Ruben Riquelme in fifth, and Anthony Radatek in sixth. Beautiful, beautiful run as they get underway. And look at Lino Arahu, man, all the horses are smoking right now. He's got an amazing mechanic who never wants me to talk about him. It's Malty, actually, for those of you guys who know who I'm talking about. But most people would probably be unaware of how famous that gentleman really is. It's funny that some of the mechanics have just as much celebrity status as the riders do. All right, we're coming into our first turn. Let's talk a little bit about this massive track. This is a big one. This is probably one of the bigger tracks. 3.1 kilometers is what we're looking at for the Dairi Cup track. This is a left-hand track. Both days we've had left-hand tracks, but we're going to shake it up tomorrow and give you a right-hand track for our final cup. And right now you are watching Lino Arahu underway with Francois Midori hunting him. That is a cool shot, isn't it? That's that front stretch, and then just to the left, you can see in the camera that is the area that we have all staged. And there is Lino Arahu with Francois Midori just a couple of clicks behind him, a couple of seconds behind him. They had to travel 36 kilometers today to get to this race site. Oh, look at Lino taking a look back at Francois Midori. He could feel the pressure. Francois Midori put pressure on him yesterday as well. Lino got the whole shot, but Francois Midori right behind him. And Francois Midori took the pass. It was a beautiful run for Francois yesterday. And man, what a gentleman and what an incredible warrior Francois Midori really is. Gentleman that came out of last year. He came to the endurance round with a wrist that was injured. Turned out it was not just injured, it was completely broken. There's a cool shot of boat number 33, that's Shin Shan, your fourth place rider, Michelle Cadet, right ahead of him on the double nickel. Oh, Michelle Cadet holding off Shin Shan, and that is no easy feat. Beautiful defense position from Michelle. Shin Shan, a full-time racer, 36 years old, hails from China, and you're watching the double nickel holding him off. That is Michelle Cadet. Cadet is out of Bergamo, Italy. 50 years old. He's an entrepreneur at a car body company. He said, yes, when I asked him about sponsors, he goes, yes, too much. I think what he needed to say was, yes, I need more. Billy Briggs, great to have you here. Joining us on the live stream. Kylie's doing great. Supalak Nino Paparat, hi, sister. Good to see you, sir. Laurentino also joining us. Passageet Limborg, thanks for being here. And that is Francois Midori on the screen, your second place rider. Oh, and Lino Arahu is in second. Francois got around him. Francois Midori moved into that lead. And Lino Arahu under investigation for the start. So just like that, Francois Midori, your world champion in Runabout GP1 yesterday, or excuse me, last year, has actually moved into the lead. Manitara Rupas, very good. Good to see you. Shin Shan, your fourth place rider. And Francois Midori hits the front stretch in the lead. And Lino Arahu has lost quite a bit of time. And as he was coming down, I was hearing that rice snap, crackle, pop sound, but not in the good way. So I wonder if maybe something's happening with Lino's boat. Just slightly underpowered there as they came into this front stretch. And already 8.30 seconds behind. Let's take a look at times. Oh, we did have a correction. All right, so I am so sorry. I thought Francois Midori did get around. Francois Midori is still in the lead. Or at least passed. Clock is not representing that yet. Let's go ahead and just do the times. Lino Arahu with a 1:31.870. Shin Shan in second with a 1:34.314. Michelle Cadet up in fourth place spot with a 1:38.672, and Ruben Jimenez Riquelme up in that top grouping as well. We'll see if we can't get this to recalculate. All right, watching this front stretch once again. Lino Arahu still showing as the lead. Lino Arahu leading 1:38.145. Shin Shan second with a 1:37.456. Ruben Jimenez Riquelme with a 1:37.816. Michelle Cadet with a 1:42.914 in fourth. Anthony Radatek in fifth with a 1:37.840. And Mohamed Salih with a 1:36.241. And trying to get a figure out on the what happened to Francois Midori, especially after that incredible run yesterday. We'll give you the update in just 1 second. Again, we are showing on the clock Lino Arahu with the lead. Best lap time, by the way, from a gentleman back in 8th place. It's Permpom Terapotpanich with a 4:2.653 for fastest lap time. Yeah, so I think maybe Francois Midori got docked an entire lap. That might have been what happened. That's what we're showing. So Francois Midori down a whole lap. Either docked or got shut down. So Francois Midori is back quite a bit, trying to make his way up. That's going to be a tough one for him, but thank you so much. I'm not sure if he was docked a lap or, in fact, if he had some engine trouble. I'll get with the race officials and let you know the follow-up on that. Meanwhile, oh my goodness. Okay, so now we got 9:47 on the clock, 9:48 on the clock, and again, we're showing Francois Midori back up in the lead. All right, well, we'll run that one last lap with the 1:37.088, and Lino Arahu with the 1:39.699. Shen Shan with a 1:37.726 in third. Ruben Jimenez Riquelme with a 1:35.566. That's your fourth place rider. According to the clock, we'll call it that way for now until they correct for us. Anthony Radatek with a 1:36.796 is fifth. Michelle Kadai in sixth. Omat Salih in eighth. Huang Ri in ninth. And there is a boat number 91 we're catching. That is Yoko Sozi. And there's your race leader. Well, and second, I guess, according to the timing. Lino Arahu with the 1:36.696. Gentleman who had the whole shot. Man, if that's the case, if that is actually what happened, this will be 3 times in a row. Lino Arahu took the whole shot and then ended up at second, which doesn't suck. It's still going to work out for an overall for him if he's able to hold on to that. The surprise today, and a happy surprise for China, Shen Shan up in third. We're showing Francois Midori on the screen, the gentleman that broke his wrist last year. We were talking about it. He's a pharmacist out of Corsica, France. Yeah, safety's amazing. Jeffrey Fernando, hello, great to have you here. All right, so hopefully we got the timing correct. I thought that Francois Midori was in the lead, but originally didn't want to counter what I'm seeing on the screen, but now that it looks like we got it corrected. Wow, best lap time now. Oh, 1:22.741. So I think that 4:2 was just a little too good for Permpom Terapotpanich. So they corrected the timing on that in addition. And you are watching Francois Midori, a 4-time offshore champion and a 5-time world champion. Already early in this race, we're having riders go down. Oh, what a heartbreaker. That is boat number 37. That's a Menez that's down. Crazy. Menez and Pons. The 2 riders top 3 yesterday. Teddy Pons was up on the beach trying to get his boat fixed, and now Ruben Jimenez Riquelme is dealing with trauma as well. He is over on the right-hand side of our track with the course marshal trying to get him taken care of. So Ruben Jimenez looks like he might be out of this one. Meanwhile, Francois Midori leading. Arahu second, Shin Shan in third, and Anthony Radatek has moved up into fourth. Omat Salih fifth, Michelle Kadai in sixth, Wang Ri in seventh, Scott Phillips up in eighth, Ezio Lucchese is in ninth, Valen Salih in 10th, Kylie Elmers in 11th, Makayo Wimley, your Indonesian rider, is in 12th, Sosi Yoko, also from Indonesia, in 13th, Baristan, who was in the top 10 yesterday, is in 14th, and Kanina Ramadina is in 15th. There's Francois Midori, your leader. 1:36.709, his last lap. And Anthony Radatek now with the fastest lap time. And what a heartbreaker. You can see Ruben Jimenez, Riquelme getting drug in and getting an Uber. And the Dairi Cup is not the way I want to finish my race. So unfortunately, the course marshals are bringing him back into the waterfront here where the riders have been staged. And we'll see if we can get that boat fixed. Salatia, thanks for joining us from Cambodia. Francois Midori at 1:37.367 on this last lap. And Lino Rahu with a 1:43.601 is in second place for Lino. You can see on the screen, we had 33 riders yesterday. 6 riders are out. We come to the lineup here today with 27. To include Isahai Hajime, who had a interesting day yesterday, ended up with a yellow card during the transfer. Kind of a crazy story on that. I don't think he realized he had to drive the boat, so had his wife driving the boat, and unfortunately they did frown on that. So they're not allowed to substitute. So Francois Midori here, just a tiny hop, 35 hours and change, to get to this beautiful island called Sumatra. He's 38 years old, and right now he is sporting a beautiful lead. No more superstitions, he said when I asked him. So do you have any superstitions before you get ready? And he was like, I don't have any superstitions anymore. I probably did when I was young. Francois Midori, a 1:26.740. 1:26.740. And take a look at the riding styles of some of these different guys. There's Isahai. Whoa, Lino Rahu is passing traffic like he is speeding in Germany. Look how fast that boy is cutting through the traffic right now. So actually, Lino Rahu is out of the top 10 at the moment with the under investigation. That is going to hurt him. We'll see if he's able to recoup. One of the ways to do that is to pass your way through this traffic. Yeah, Marie, I'm sorry about that. Again, your top 5, Francois Midori, Lino Arahu in the second spot, Shin Shan in third, Anthony Radatek in fourth, and Omat Salih in fifth, Michelle Kadai in sixth, Wang Wei in seventh, Scott Phillips in eighth, Ezio Lucchese in ninth. Shin Shan has got to be exhilarated that he had such a great start. Just take a look and see where Shin finished yesterday. He was back in 29th. So good opportunity here to make up some points. There's Lino Arahu, gentleman that took the cup yesterday at the Karo Cup. And Shin Shan, our rider from China. He lives in the Hainan province. Hometown is the Hebei province. He's 36 years old, a full-time racer. Shin Shan has a interesting riding style versus a lot of the French. Wow, look at Anthony Radatek. I'm trying to talk about Shin, Anthony. Anthony just made the pass on Shin Shan. Beautiful run. Anthony Radatek. Well, now I get to talk about you, the double deuce, up in the third place spot. Anthony Radatek, who had a great finish yesterday. Anthony came from 15th up into 7th place in that second moto. He ended up yesterday with a 7th overall. Anthony Radtek now in 3rd, and Shen Shan dropping back into 4th, and Omut Salih has moved up into 5th. Michelle Kadai in 6th, Huang Ri in 7th, Scott Phillips in 8th, and Kylie Elmer's also on the charge on boat 13. She is up in 9th place, Valen Salih in 10th. Just gentleman hails from Alabama. You're watching Anthony Radtek on the screen, your 3rd place rider, as we count down the minutes. We've got 18:50 on the clock. It's a 35-minute moto. Oh, Anthony Radtek trying to work through lap traffic. That looks like boat number 99. That's Cliff Elmers. And interesting watching that, moving through the lap traffic. Cliff actually and Anthony been helping each other out this week. Anthony Radtek in 3rd, and Shen Shan in 4th, Omut Salih in 5th, Francois Midori, and Lino Arahu and Anthony Radtek, your top 3. Michelle Kadai back in 6th, Huang Ri in 7th, Scott Phillips in 8th, Valen Salih in 9th, and Kylie Elmers in 10th. All right, we're back. Francois Midori still leading with a 1:39.420, and Lino Arahu with a 1:41.378. Anthony Radtek with a 1:39.053. Shen Shan with an 1:43.397 is 4th. Omut Salih with a 1:41.566 is in 5th, and Michelle Kadai is in 6th with a 1:40.337. Huang Ri in 7th place with a 1:42.010. And in 8th, Scott Phillips with a 1:45.052, and 9th, Valen Salih with a 1:41.414, and Kylie Elmers still 10th with a 1:46.048 on that last lap. So just watching the different riders and how they handle the race conditions, you'll notice that Anthony Radtek is going to be mostly seated. Perpom Terapotpanich also just getting pulled in. So Perpom Terapotpanich, who had a good finish yesterday as well, he is out of it. He was in 8th, but now he's under the tow rope coming back in. Boat number 70 is on the screen right now behind your 4th place rider, Shen Shan. And again, Francois Midori with a 1:40.052. And that is your race leader, Francois Midori. We've got 12 laps already into this. And it has been tricky on the riders to work their way through these different days and keep these boats rolling. Anthony Radtek yesterday, even on the transfer, was having a challenge with it, had the boat go down a couple of times. He was able to get that boat back going, but unfortunately, that is the kind of thing that will actually have you be very nervous. He said he hates that when he's having to deal with boat challenges. You're watching Lino Arahu, your 2nd place rider, and there is Anthony Radtek, your 3rd. Anthony out of Alabama. Was a helicopter pilot for many years in the military. And the yellow flags just keep going. So Arahu is under investigation and Beristan under investigation. I'm guessing for Lino Arahu it's for the premature acceleration, because that was pretty tough. He had just turned around and was trying to anticipate that start. Here's your race leader, Francois Midori. And talked a little bit about that wrist from last year, but this is a gentleman that is actually really comfortable in offshore racing and endurance racing. And in fact, he was talking about how he had to train for closed course racing when he came back in 2021. So he had been taking a break, building his business. He's a pharmacist, him and his wife, and their adorable children. And he's talking a little bit about the different riding style. Watch what he does going into these turns. So you'll notice a lot of these riders, Lino's doing it as well. He's not actually sitting very much. They're actually crouching. And that is supposed to be helping them. Actually, it will help with fatigue when they're able to stand in between the buoys or on the backstretch. The idea here is to give their forearms and their shoulder a break. Wow, that was quite a correction for Lino Arahu coming out of that turn. Shen Shan, 4th place. Best he's done so far this weekend. His first race was in 1999. Shen is a 4-time China champion. Nice overview of our racetrack, which is massive. 3 kilometers for these guys. 24:5.6 is on the clock. Francois Midori, a 1:39.557 on his last lap. His best lap was a 1:26.356. Lino Arahu with a 1:39.458 to Francois Midori's 1:39.557. Woo! 3/100ths of a second separating them on time, but looking at the track, actually quite a bit of distance between the 2 riders. Boat number 27, Lino Arahu, who took the Karo Cup yesterday, is up in that top 3. Now, do you see that rope that is kind of bouncing on the bow? Hanging down from the bow. That's actually the tow rope. All of these boats are required to have a tow rope connected to them. That is a safety requirement for all racing boats. So if these, at any time these boats go down, it's really easy for the course marshals to hook that and then be able to tow them in. 24 seconds is the average gap between Lino and Francois Midori. Here's your top 10 once again. Francois Midori, Lino Arahu, Anthony Ratatek, Shen Shan, Omad Salih. 5th and 6th place, Huang Ri. 7th, Michelle Kadai. Falin Salih is in 8th. Isahai is in 9th, and Baristan is in 10th. Lino Arahu, your Karo Cup winner, and right now 2nd place rider. "34 years old. He lives in Povia, Varzim, Porto, just north of Portugal, and works in his family business. Just taking a look back to the course marshals as he went through that buoy. He's locked in pretty tight, but you can see how he's using his legs as a support system or suspension. You'll notice him crouching. He's not sitting a lot, especially right now. Again, just trying to give that upper body some rest, but also it allows them to feel the water a little bit easier as well, he said. Make those adjustments. You'll notice Francois Midori just did the same thing. So they're really in a crouch position, and another setup for Francois Midori and a lot of the riders is they actually shift the footwells so that they've got a little bit of a deeper footwell, and they're able to push back on that, which allows them to push back on the back end of that seat. That helps them stay in position when they need to, and it also helps them put more pressure on the intake grate and the pump, keeping the boat hooked up a little bit better. There's Anthony Radja, your third place rider, who has been enjoying these sights of Sumatra. They've had him out on quite a few photo tours this weekend. Pretty view for Anthony Radja. Got to be happy with that positioning right now. He was out of the top 3 yesterday. Still had a decent finish, and again, all of this is cumulative, so consistency is going to be the key. Right now, the most consistent rider has been Lino Arahu. He has been deucing it every moto, and he's also hole shot at every moto. And Lino right now, 1:40.044 on his last lap. A 1:40.044 on his last lap, and a nice ride. And there's Francois Midori in that signature stand. This is his chance to give his arms a rest. Still rolling forward, but he's got his feet positioned in those footwells, making sure that that boat doesn't cavitate, or if it does, as little as possible. Look how flat that boat is running. Nice hookup. Oh no, tough break. Looks like Kylie Elmer's down for a minute right out of the finish line grid for Kylie. Again, 24 seconds between Lino and Arahu. Francois Midori with a 1:37.414. Lino's looking very quiet. He rides a very quiet ride. Wrists relaxed and just pushing through the waves. It's interesting, the waves on the camera don't look too intense, but when you look out over the water, well, I guess they do right there, but when you look out over the water, it is pretty riley out there, pretty rowdy looking. And Lino just coming into that turn, he takes a tight turn. But when I talked to Francois Midori yesterday and the day before, their approach to buoys in endurance is pretty different from closed course. In closed course, you've got to protect that buoy. You've got to come in very tight to it and play defense, particularly if you're getting pressured by the rider behind you. But in endurance, that's not how they play that game. They are not too concerned about being close to the buoys. The idea here is to stay as high on that throttle as possible, so they don't need to be as tight and scrub speed. They're going to keep it pinned as much as they possibly can, just leave that open up. So you see, notice there was like a boat or two that could have snuck in between him and the buoy, as you saw Francois take that left-hand turn. But they're not too concerned about that. That is his final turn before he comes to the front stretch section, and then they have a little, it's kind of a tiny dog leg turn. And then Francois going through where the checkered buoys are going to be. Just took a look up into the timing tower. We've got 32:14 left on the clock. And it's going to be Lino Arahu with the 1:42.286. Francois Midori has got to be thinking strategy. Oh, and another rider actually down on the front stretch, but we'll catch up with that in a minute with the cameras, no biggie. But we did have another rider that went down. Francois Midori has got just a few minutes left. So once the 35-minute mark ticks, he will have one lap left to go for Francois Midori. about 28 seconds between Francois Midori and Lino Arahu. And Francois having to play pretty smart here with these lapped riders. You'll notice again, not going into those buoys too tightly. He's just wanting to play easy strategy here, right? He's not really wanting to get too aggressive. Not like in closed course where micro movements are critical. In endurance, the name of the game is managing your resources. There's a cool shot of Anthony Radatek. Oh, this was the front stretch I was telling you about, and that's that little dog leg. And then watch as they come out of that dog leg. It's a little more technical than it looks, and then you can see this shot. That is the finish line and our live stream barge, broadcast barge right to the right of us, and then the big stage, and all of the viewers there behind us, along with a ton of safety crew as well. And a really cool view of our area there. All right, going to be 2 more laps as Francois Midori continues the trek. He did not finish in that first moto. And then in moto number 2, Francois Midori took the win. And then today, he is currently leading. So as far as consistency, I mean, he would have been definitely one of the one of the riders for sure for top 3. Now he's going to have to play the catch-up game because he wasn't able to garner any points in that first moto. So 25 points for each of those. That was a big ding. Now, with 3 cups, though, and all of the switching around that we've seen, he could very well be on this podium this weekend. Francois Midori just taking a look down at the diagnostics on the boat, making sure that everything's okay. Watching, making sure nobody's sneaking up on him, and then he's going to just stand up. And I see that a lot with the French riders where they ride standing. And checkered flag drops for Francois Midori. Checkered flag dropped for Francois Midori. Going to be Lino Arahu for second, Anthony Radatek in third, and Omar Salih. And you can see him petting his boat. He said, yeah, buddy, that is good enough. We thought we were going to have 2 more laps, but actually we were a little long. So they were able to call that 35 minutes. So Francois Midori nailed it. And yeah, Francois towards the end of the race usually picks up the pace, and he certainly did that again today. So just a little bit of a recap. It was Lino Arahu with the whole shot, but then Francois Midori had an overtake, moving into the lead. Here is your final top 10. Francois Midori with the win. Lino Arahu second. Look at him, still celebrating. That's got to be such a great feeling after that first moto yesterday. Francois Midori, Lino Arahu, Anthony Radatek, your top 3. Omar Salih moved into 4th. Hoang Ri into 5th. Isaha Hajime in 6th. Valen Salih in 7th. Baristan in 8th. Teddy Pons in 9th, able to get back out on the water. Michelle Kadai in 10th. Shan in 11th. Ezio Lucchesi in 12th. Mikhail Wemley in 13th. Sozi Yoko in 14th. And Kanina Ramadina rounds out your top 15. There's your full results for the 27 riders today. All right, you guys, I want to thank you so much for joining us out here in Lake Toba, Indonesia, the largest super volcanic lake in the world. And we just got through with moto number 1. And right after lunch, we're going to bring it back to you around 2 o'clock. Come and join us, 2 p.m. local time. We're going to have moto number 2, and then we're going to award these guys for the Dairi Cup on day 2 of the UIM ABP Aquabike Endurance World Championship. We'll be back. Thanks so much. Welcome back to the UIM ABP Aquabike Endurance World Championship right here in Lake Toba, Indonesia. We're broadcasting from the stunning Dairi Regency in North Sumatra for the Endurance Racing Series with the Dairi Cup. We're underway for race 2 this afternoon. The Dairi Cup today takes us from base camp all the way back at Pengururan to Sila Lahi, a 26-kilometer trek one way. Just next to us are the Seringa waterfalls in the distance and the beautiful wild hills as well. We are flanked by the stunning landscape, and as you can see, this isn't the only landscape we got. We've brought freestyle up to the Dairi Regency, and these guys have been going crazy. I'll tell you who's on the water right now. This is Yassine Fadli, the young rider from Morocco, and joining him is the one and only Rashid Al Mullah, a multiple world champion, and of course he's in the points right now in the lead for the world title in 2024. We're going to be bringing a lot of great race action to you in just a few moments, but first we're going to the Parade of Nations. Let's talk a little bit about what happened in Moto number 1. Midori, after a second-ish start, it was actually Linho Ara who had the whole shot. Midori snuck around him, taking the lead, and he never let off the throttle. He ended up with the win in Moto number 2, Radatek second, and Linho Ara was in third. Before we get too deep in racing, let's take a look at this beautiful to the Dairi Regency, a hidden gem nestled in the highlands of North Sumatra. Known for its lush landscapes and cool climate, Dairi offers a peaceful escape into nature. The Regency is rich in Batak culture, where you can experience traditional villages and hospitality that has remained unchanged for generations. This vast crater lake of Lake Toba, nestled in the heart of North Sumatra, offers breathtaking views and a cinematic atmosphere perfect for exploration. The area's volcanic soil supports abundant agriculture, and the fertile land is home to a wide variety of crops. Here, the Dairi Regency invites you to relax and reconnect with nature amidst a primal and culturally charged landscape. You can see just a few of these postcard-like views. It's Instagram worthy, I promise you. Please put Sumatra on your list to visit. We're back here at our second of 3 endurance grueling championships. I caught up with Anthony Radatek on the break, and he was like, girl, I am already burned out. This is a lot of work. It is not as easy as these guys are making it look out on the water. One of the things that they're fighting the last couple of days, this even more than the first stop. The first one we had over at the Karo Cup was a little bit of a sheltered bay, but this little monkey is wide open. We'll be right back after this.
The final showdown in Lake Toba, Indonesia. World-class riders, breathtaking scenery, non-stop action. The UIM Aquabike World Championship jets into the Grand Prix of Lake Toba, Indonesia. 5 days of full throttle action on the largest volcanic lake in the world, testing the limits of rider and machine. 3 days of the endurance racing from the 13th to the 15th of November. Then the finale of the World Championship from the 16th to the 17th of November, where scores will be settled for the 2024 season. Don't miss the thrilling finale of the UIM Aquabike World Championship.
Welcome back to the UIM ABP Aquabike Endurance World Championship. We're up here at the Dairi Cup. Well, race number 1, once again, that recap. Linho Ara with the whole shot. His third out of 3 motos so far for the Endurance World Championship. But Francois Midori once again stole the lead from Linho, just like yesterday. That was a repeat of Moto 2 of the Karo Cup, and held a comfortable lead to finish in first. Midori also posted the best lap time of a 1:2.6.356. Anthony Radatek, that wild Alabaman, he went from 6th, overtaking China's Shen Shan, to 3rd, and second place for the Karo Cup, Ruben Jimenez Riquelme unfortunately broke in lap number 6 and was forced to Uber in. The final results for race 1 put Francois Midori in first, Anthony Radatek in second, and Lino Arahu in third after an investigation. Rounding out the top 5 was Omid Salih and Rui Huang, and we are now officially on the parade lap. Our officials and a lot of the dignitaries and VIPs from around the area have joined us on the lead boat. You're getting an up close look, of that. And look at that incredible backdrop. I mean, that is Jurassic Park, isn't it? It's just gorgeous. It is almost indescribable how pretty this area is. And the Dairi Cup in particular, this Regency, the waterfront is literally backed up against this large area of mountains. There are several hidden waterfalls. I could just see 2 of the waterfalls behind us. I mean, it's something else. Jungle plus forest. 1 minute you're looking at a pine tree. The next minute you see a palm tree. This country offers up a buffet for the senses. It's quite spectacular. I promise you want to see it. All right, you're watching these guys come through. Let's talk a little bit about the racers and the countries represented. Over 25 countries here this weekend for endurance, starting with Portugal, France, Hungary, China, Italy, Indonesia out there on the water, Australia. We've also got Hungary, we've got Cambodia, Spain, Thailand, Sweden, and Japan, just to name a few. That is what makes up our parade lap. And again, you see the dignitaries from the Dairi Regency in that lead boat as we parade through. Right behind, we've got the Indonesian flags and a beautiful slogan for Indonesia. It's wonderful Indonesia with this incredible, it looks like a bird, but also a bird of paradise. It's quite pretty little logo. You'll see that on the live stream. And again, our fantastic course marshals also out there carrying those flags. By the way, that's not even as easy as it looks. Just having those flags, a lot of the riders will put them in the back of their life jackets. And I was talking to some of these guys, like, really, how hard is that? And they said, surprisingly hard, because the flag has a tendency to direct you. Those poles are really thick. So yeah, it's pretty cool to watch. Beautiful. Doesn't get better than that. There's Kylie Elmers on boat number 13, the Australian boat. You can see France up there. What a morning we had. Lino Arahu with that little bit too quick of a start, slight premature acceleration, if you will, did cost him not as much as we thought it might. It just moved back into third. Still in the hunt. He was your winner yesterday for the Karo Cup. Gentleman from Portugal has a crazy story too. Lino Arahu, who battled back from cancer to come back and compete, and it was a very serious cancer, and for him to be able to not only beat that, but not only go into remission, but then to rehabilitate, to train, to come back out on the water at the level that these guys compete, it's just insanity. And everything has to be perfect for them. They have to have the right boats. They're constantly underneath the hood, tweaking these machines to make sure that they've got the best combination. It's not just top end, particularly in endurance. It's definitely not just about a top end boat. They're actually looking for a combination of handling and resiliency. They want a fast boat, but they don't want it so tweaked out like the closed course boats, because they've got so long that they've got to put the boats under pressure. 35 minutes at darn near full throttle. Most of this course is incredibly hard, as you can imagine, on the machine. And that's what they're going to put them through this afternoon. And to make matters more exciting for them, we only allow them one mechanic. So if you can imagine the horsepower it takes just to bring all of these team members and all of the equipment that we will need each day, all of the equipment for the live stream, all of that has to be brought out by boat, and then we have to set it up every morning. Additionally, the riders are under the transfers. They're actually on the clock, if you will, or immediately in the race, because they get 10 points for each transfer. Then we bring out for each rider one person only. And of course, if you're going to be picking, you're going to pick a mechanic. So it's the rider and the mechanic that is able to come out. The rest of their team, which generally, by the way, the teams vary everywhere from, you could have 3 to 4 people on a team, all the way up to, I've seen some of these teams come out, and there's more than 20 to 30 people supporting these riders. So it is a massive endeavor, as you can imagine. And in addition to that, you've got to be really smart on what you're bringing as well. Like how much equipment, how many parts do you think you're going to have to include, and all of that has to be factored in. And then we rent out local boats on Lake Toba, and then the local boats actually bring us out to these locations. The location yesterday was 36 kilometers. Today it's 26 kilometers. I believe tomorrow is our longest trek. Yep, that one's going to be a monster. 40 kilometers, I think. Not sure. Anyway, the course size about 3 kilometers each course. Yesterday was a left-hand course. Today also will be a left-hand course, which basically, what I mean by that, they'll go straight out from the start. They're going to take a left-hand turn, and then every time they see a red buoy, they will continue to take left-hand turns. Tomorrow, however, we're going to shake it up for the Silliman Gan Cup. That is going to be a right-hand course. All of these cups will be combined for the overall, and right now it is the gentleman from Portugal on boat number 27 who has the most points coming into this. But Francois Midori is certainly putting his mark on that. Super shame. I'm sure he's still a little sad. He lost a part of his pump yesterday in moto number 1, and because of that, he actually was unable to get any points in that first moto. But they took the win in moto number 2, and now he has another win this morning. So Francois Midori on the hunt to get back on this podium. Meanwhile, let's talk about Ruben Jimenez Riquelme. He actually was charging up in the top spots, and then suddenly catastrophe struck, and he had to get towed in, and I'm not sure that his boat made it back out. Actually, I'm looking up on shore. I think they were, shockingly, able to get that boat fixed. So Ruben Jimenez is still in this hunt. I'll tell you one of the riders that isn't, though. That is Shin Shan. So tough break for Shin Shan too, who I think got penalized in moto number 1. And that was too bad because he was actually up in 3rd, one of his best finishes thus far in the UIM AVP endurance rounds. And you can see right now what we're doing at this point is we're switching over from modeling to getting ready to racing. So they have got to drop off those flags to their teammates and to the H2O crew. And then what they're going to do is come back out to the race course. And then the real drama begins because we've got, thanks to the mastermind, brilliant deviousness of Marco Petrini, we're actually going to have these guys do a regatta start. I think this is one of the coolest things I've seen. A regatta start is very different from what you would normally see in endurance. We've got 2 kind of common endurance starts. Le Mans is one of them, where the guys start on the shore and then they have to run to the boat and get on the boat. That is so much fun to watch. But unfortunately, we've got a rocky coastline, and we've had that for all 3 stops. It just doesn't make sense logistically. So the other option for us was a running start. The challenge with the running start in endurance when you've got 33 riders like this is it is really tricky to keep them to line up because we don't break them up or segment them like we do closed course racing. And because of that, there were some safety concerns. Makes absolute sense. So regatta start is what we came up with, and it has been so far quite perfect. Let me break it down for you. So they are going to come up to the starting grid, and they're going to stay far enough back on that starting grid, and then they're going to wait for the course marshal to give the whistle, and then from that whistle, they've got 60 seconds, and if they have to restack, in other words, come back around because they're getting too close to the starting line, they are forced to take a left turn only. So, and again, it is a big penalty if you jump the starts, 10 points off, so you don't want to miss that sucker. So what they're going to do is they're going to try to time from that 60 seconds to that countdown to make sure that noses are forward, pumps are in the water, and they're ready to hit the throttle. That's how that is going to go. We'll see. We'll see who gets it this time. Lino Arahu looked really good. Apparently he was a little too good in moto number 1. All right, I just got the call from our race director, Marco Petrini, and we actually are just a few moments away, about 2 minutes from the whistle. We're 2 minutes from the whistle, so you can see these guys are already starting to circle. Now, before the whistle hits, they can turn whatever direction they want to. Now, you can see them already jockeying for position, and the reason for that is if you've got a left-hand start, you want to be as close to that left-hand buoy as possible. You're going to have not only the quickest line, but you should be able to have the cleanest line. The other, I would say, optimal area would be on the far right, and that way you could stay out of the drama. That far right, which gets you some clean water, that also will offer an opportune moment for a hole shot as well. Let's see who chooses what as we get ready to go. We are mere moments away from the course marshal's whistle. You can see their hands in the air. And that is Teddy Pons, you see in the background, that boat number 14. What a story he had this morning. A fuel relay went out on him. He was up in the top group, and then a fuel relay went out. And by the way, he was third yesterday on the podium. So that had to be a panic attack for Teddy Pons. Crazily enough, however, he got that sucker fixed and was back out on the water. And where did he end up? 8th in Moto number 1. Now that is some miracle racing. Taking a look at the course marshals. You're watching him now as we get ready to go, and I can see him just starting to pull that out. And that's the whistle, you guys. We are 60 seconds down. We are counting down now. Clock is on. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to hit a throttle. Again, we are 60 seconds away, and it's already counting down. Now watch all the maneuvering on these guys. We're giving you a really cool start view of that. No, you. All right, you guys, sorry about that. We were just trying to get a clear view here. Again, we are under 30 seconds as we get ready. Lino Arahu's playing smart. He can't go past that starting line, though, and he knows he's got to watch it. All the other riders are sneaking up. Green flag goes up, and Lino Arahu is the wrong direction. Great start, however, and a clean start. We'll see who ended up with that hole shot, but wow, what a tough break for Lino. That is the first time I've seen him out of position in 2 days. The gentleman that is in the lead in points now is going to go play some catch-up. And Ruben Riquelme, who had a break, did not make it in the top 10. Well, I don't know how he did it, but Lino Arahu is up in that top group. Teddy Pons is tied for the hole shot. And out of boat number 14, Teddy Pons actually looks like he is rolling for a hole shot. Again, you were just watching them as they go rocking through here. Nice turn. They're coming into the front stretch in just a moment. Lino Arahu is a little bit back further. Boat number 77 up in that group. That's Omut Salih, who finished in the top 10. And it is Teddy Pons. What a comeback kid. Teddy Pons with the hole shot. It's going to be Francois Midori in a second. And Michel Cadet, who almost had that hole shot coming out of it. He had the fastest start, actually. He's going to be in third. Atsal Beristan in fourth. Omut Salih in fifth. Anthony Raditek in sixth. Isahai Hajimi in seventh. Lino Arahu in eighth. And Eges Ratag, one of the local brilliant products, is in ninth. Ruben Jimenez Riquelme in 10th. And Huang Wei is in the 11th place spot. Micaiah Wemley in 12th. There's your start as we get underway. But what a incredible role for Teddy Pons, a gentleman out of France. He owns a company called Easy Rider, and he is famous as a mechanic. But what I didn't know is how famous he was on the racetrack as well. Racing with the likes of Nicholas Rios and Frankie Zapata back in the early 2000s. He put his Mark in the USA and across the country, as well as in Europe, winning many European championships. Right now, he's in the lead here for the UIM ABP Aquabike World Championship on endurance. Teddy Pons, mechanic by day and apparently racer by weekend. We'll get some times for you as soon as they come through, and he too rides a lot. You'll notice these two gentlemen, the guy in second, that's Midori. Francois Midori actually has Teddy Pons as his mechanic. So right now his mechanic's beating him. I'm going to give him a hard time for that. And they're coming through. Let's get some times for you. 1:33.509 for Teddy Pons and a 1:32.918 for Francois Midori. So Teddy can't say that his boat is faster because Francois right now has got the fastest time. Michelle Cadet with a 1:37.620 is in third. Axel Baristan in fourth with a 1:37.796. And Anthony Radatek is a 1:35.554. Well, we are throttle on as we get underway, 3.5 minutes in for a 35-minute grueler. Plus 1 lap because we're evil and we like to do that to you. You're watching Endurance, and this is Teddy Pons in that very signature French style. Now they look like they're sitting down from the camera view. Look how close his friend is, Francois Midori. Francois was a world champion last year in Runabout GP1 closed course racing. You're going to get a chance to see that this afternoon. And Francois Midori sweeping around Teddy Pons. They are side by side, and you can see Teddy looking over at Francois. The challenge has been put down. Teddy Pons playing a little defense, comes in tighter on that buoy than normal, and he is holding off your Runabout world champion, Francois Midori. Francois keeping the gas on as they make their way towards the front stretch. Man, I love to watch Francois Midori ride. He is incredibly flexible. Gentleman up in third, that's Mr. Kadai, Michelle Kadai. His daughter races as well, Nicole. Got a chance to watch her out on the racetrack multiple times. She's incredibly fast. He is up in third, and Artel Baristan in fourth. Anthony Radatek in fifth. We're just taking a look at these different riders coming through. So you got 35 minutes plus a lap. This is a 3-kilometer course, and yet they are making it look way too easy. So you can average about 2 minutes on this course. And I guess you could do the math as easy as I do, but we're looking at about 15 to 16 laps. That is a lot of work for your engine, your body, and your brain, because this is a mental game just as much as it is a physical or engine. You don't get to out horsepower people here. You've got to pay attention to the mental game, and you've got to be able to outperform Teddy Pons under fire once again with Francois Midori. Teddy Pons is holding him off, and he has the line, but Francois Midori, undeniable. He moves into the lead, and look at him shaking his head back there, giving Teddy Pons a hard time. That is true camaraderie between these two racers. Outstanding move from Francois Midori, your new race leader, and that was slick. All right, so you have France first and second. As we continue these laps, we're on to lap number 2. They're just about to complete lap number 3. A 1:33.491 for Teddy on that lap 2. And look at this, 1:32.693 for Francois Midori on lap number 3. So Midori has just consistently run a 1:32, and that was plenty to get him into the lead. Nice move for the gentleman out of Corsica, France. By the way, Francois is a pharmacist during the day. He's got an amazing wife. His wife also is in that industry. She's a pharmacist as well. And I think he has multiple locations now. Got a great family. They stay up late. Actually, they let the kids stay up late to watch. And Francois Midori was actually showing me pictures last year of the girls watching the course and watching the live stream. It was really cool to see. So I'm sure his family is cheering him on. You're watching Francois Midori. We've got 7 minutes on the clock. And take a look at how he handles this machine. He's not truly sitting. He's actually crouching. So he's putting a lot of weight on his legs and a lot of suspension. He's letting those legs right now just carry that suspension. You're going to notice as he cruises through the mid part of this race, he sort of tucks in, he'll stand up, give the upper body a little bit of rest, and then what he does towards the latter part of the race, he starts to pick up the pace. So about mid-race, he's going to kind of shuttle in, settle a little bit, manage the resources, but you watch him those last 3 laps, he goes like lightning. You got an eye here on Anthony Radatek. Anthony is in 4th. Showing Michelle Kadai under investigation, and Radatek got around Michelle. Michelle Kadai is back in 4th place. Radatek is moving up. Anthony Radatek out of Alabama. There is Michelle. Anthony Radatek was a military pilot. He is quite a story. He has an award named after him. It's the Anthony Radatek Iron Warrant Award. Back to your race leader, that is Francois Midori on boat number 4. Now you can see him standing. That is an opportunity for him to manage the resources physically. Now when he goes out and trains, he trains open water. And the way that they will train is they'll go longer than whatever the race is. So their closed course racing that he'll also be doing this weekend is 25 minutes in a lap, but the endurance run is 35. So he told me I will always go out if I can, and I'll try to do 45 to 50 until the gas runs out, basically. And then I'll bring it in, give it a rest, and come back out and do it again. That's how they train. Notice how he's not really sitting. He's just trying to read the boat and read the water. And that is particularly important in this area. Whoa, we've got really tight racing. Back in 6th, that's Eges, Huang Ra, and Ruben Jimenez all battling. Jimenez is moving up. He's in 7th. And that is Ruben Jimenez. Riquelme, you see. Started out a little bit further back. He's a 1:38.992 on this one. And again, Ruben Jimenez, Riquelme trying to move up through that pack. He was 2nd yesterday on the podium. Michelle Kadai, you're watching the double nickel, who had a great run this morning. There's Francois Midori, and he's actually already into lap traffic. That's Sobek Slubin from Italy. And if the footage looks just a tiny bit wiggly, that's because we are on the board, we're actually on the barge shooting live. Teddy Pons, your 2nd place ride. And he's got those shoulders out, elbows flared. Keen eye. He's wanting to ride a solid race. He's also listening to that engine, that fuel relay. The fact that that thing went down in moto number 1 has to be a bit concerning for him. I talked to him on the break. He said he feels pretty good about it. So as far as consistency, should be okay. There's Ruben Riquelme, and he continues to move up. He was back in 9th, then 7th, and now Ruben Riquelme is up at 5th place. Ruben Riquelme is on the hunt. Isahai Hajime is up at 4th, Ruben in 5th. Michelle Kadei moving backwards, went to 6th, and Eges Ratag, the local product from Indonesia, is in 7th. There is Ruben Jimenez Riquelme, and he is got a redemption run happening. He did not make the top 10. He got towed in moto number 1, and right now he's got something to prove. Look at the punishment these guys are taking. These waves are coming at them from every direction. So it is a huge mental game, but the fact that they've got to keep the boat running and also manage their physicality, it is sometimes a little overwhelming just trying to watch and see all of the tiny things that they are doing to manage these resources. So watch how he keeps his elbows out. That's actually one of the ways that they try to read the boat. That's the easiest way to manage these boats coming through, because the boat is moving not only forward but side to side, and it rolls depending on where the waves are kicking at them. And unfortunately, or unfortunately, I guess, whichever way you want to look at it, you've actually got a good view of the waves and the way they're cross-sectioning. Those cross-sections of waves make riding these boats at these high levels of speeds unpredictable. So you don't know if it's going to chime and hit one of the different bond lines, and if it does, it's going to kick the boat one way or the other. That too makes it a little crazy. Francois Midori still leading with a 1:36.278. Teddy Pons in second with a 1:37. He just kicked in another faster time, a 1:37.841. And Anthony Radatek with a 1:39.984. Isahai. Hajime Isahai is a 1:37.425. He's in fourth. Ruben Jimenez Riquelme in fifth with the 1:38.835. Ruben right in the hunt. And I'm really impressed with this young kid. He's 15 years old. Boat number 69. We'll try to find him for you, but he's back in sixth. That is Eges Ratag, a young student who lives in Jakarta, Indonesia, and he has a 1:40.254. Very respectable time, and he is in that top 10. And you're watching Francois Midori. No chemicals needed for this. And in fact, talking about that, the UIM ABB Aquabike Tour is sponsored, well, not really sponsored, but we're endorsed and we're a part of the Olympic Association. So they have drug testing as well, and it's very strict. In fact, all of the rules with the F1 H2O team and this group is very strict. So they can only come out and work on the boats at certain times. They're only allowed to practice at certain times. And any enhancing drugs of any kind are absolutely illegal, and they do drug testing. So even though I'm kidding as far as him being a pharmacist, he is one, but he would never use any of that because you could definitely get disqualified. Kind of crazy though, right, that he is a pharmacist during the day. I know. Not allowed to do anything. Includes aspirin. At this rate, it looks like the Dairi Cup is Def Midori, second Radatek, and third maybe Teddy. And I don't want to predict too early. We're not even halfway yet, but it's looking pretty good for these guys. Again, if it doesn't change, we're going to have Midori at the top of it, Radatek in second, and third Teddy Pons. There's your long view. See what I'm talking about? Now watch the front of this boat. They try to keep that boat down in the water as much as possible. It's kind of opposite of what you would maybe normally think. And looking between the two boats, see how Teddy Pons' boat is chiming a little bit more? Meanwhile, Midori is keeping it very connected to that water. Now, some of that is the boat and the handling, the way they've set up the combination, but some of it is rider, for sure. And Midori has had a lot more time on the water the last 3 years, I think, than Teddy Pons, but I am so impressed with how Teddy Pons has been racing. He is a European champion. Again, raced with the likes of Nicholas Rios and Frankie Zapata. He was telling me about started racing in the early 2000s. Then he had the opportunity to buy a mechanic business, a shop, and he did. That was Easy Rider that he purchased, and he is well known globally for one of the top mechanics in the world. So double duty out there for Boat 14. There's your Alabaman, the Alabama boy, double deuce. That's Anthony Radatek. That number, by the way, on the side of his boat is the name of a non-profit organization called Double Deuce on veteran suicide prevention. And he's quite the ambassador. Anthony Radatek typically goes wherever he travels when he comes to these races. He's always visiting the local embassies. And he does quite a lot of talks on disabilities. And what you may not know about the gentleman that is up in third is he is mostly paralyzed from the waist down. Pretty inspiring story. Speaking of inspiring, more lap traffic, no problems, no dramas, no llamas for Francois Midori. I really enjoy watching how he approaches the different waves coming into these different sections. You can see Teddy Pons on that back stretch. He's got a kind of a rolled over shoulder look versus Francois Midori's a little bit more straight up and down. Teddy Pons, on the other hand, is definitely more hunched and rolled. Both of these riders very talented and very skilled in being able to feel how they need to react to each one of these waves in the turns. Now, that is a little unusual. Francois Midori generally will not hug a buoy like you just saw, but he most certainly was working that turn pretty close. He did it there as well. You're watching Teddy Pons, your second place rider. He had a 1:40.253. We're looking at a lap number 9. And Teddy Pons just went past the starting grid. Isn't this pretty? I told you, it looks like Jurassic Park behind us. I'm telling you, when we got off the plane the first time last year, I got goosebumps. I was like, this place is something else now. We're in Sumatra. We're in the northern part right now of the lake. We're traversing, as I mentioned, every day for these guys. And so we get to see a different location every single day. This is pretty cool. Francois Midori is standing, giving those muscles a rest. He's trying to rest that lower back, trying to give his legs a little bit of a rest, because a lot of times they're in a crouch. If you can imagine, like a jockey, they're actually not really sitting, they're crouching over the front of that boat. They've got a very unique seat design for them as well. If you can imagine, in closed course racing, as I mentioned, that's a very aggressive everything. Everything is aggressive. The boat setup is aggressive. The engine is really going to be pushy. The engine is also going to be adapted to short, quick punches. Nothing is wide open all the time. This is a completely different. You're looking at a limousine, right? They're going to move everything back. They're going to set up their seats a little bit further back. They're going to rotate the angle of their handle poles back even more. All of that is to help adapt to these conditions and to these longer races. We've got 19 minutes in, and Francois Midori just laid down on lap 11 a 1:38.507. It is Teddy Pons in second with a 1:41.859. Not really off the pace. He's just about 3 seconds back. Anthony Radatek with a 1:39.377. And Isahai Hajime is a 1:38.701. He's in fourth. Ruben Jimenez still fifth. And Eges Ratag sixth. Huang Ri is seventh. Philin Sali eighth. Scott Phillips is ninth. Makeo Wemley is 10th. And Kylie Elmers is 11th. By the way, Eges, the gentleman that I was talking about from Indonesia, he started in 9th and has moved up into 6th. And if you can just picture, you're dealing with some of the top athletes around the world, and we've got this young 15-year-old from Jakarta whipping up on him. Hometown product doing good. And Francois Midori just took a quick look back. I don't know how close Teddy Pons is to him. 20 seconds. He's got about a 20-second lead on Teddy, so I'm not sure what he was looking. Maybe just to see where his buddy is. These guys are really good friends. Francois has had Teddy Pons work on his boat for the past 4 years. I'm sure longer than that, but that I'm aware of. Anyway, they had Francois Midori start back on the F1 H2O Aquabike Tour in 2021. That is a really cool view of our location this afternoon. The Dairi Regency is where we are. It's an inland regency. Now we're on the west shore of Lake Toba, but in North Sumatra in Indonesia. And this is the seat, is at the town of Sidi Kalang. And Dairi is mostly hills and mountains. They average here about 700 to 1,250 meters, 2,300 to 4,100 feet above sea level. Let's talk about that a little bit too. It actually affects these engines. Oh, there we go. We pulled up Eges for me. I'm so glad you guys grabbed him. Here's Eges, the young Indonesian rider. He's 15, a student out of Jakarta. He is in 6th, and right now he is holding off a passel of very fast riders. It is number 82. That's Scott Phillips. Scott's right here. He's in 9th. Scott Phillips, his first race here this year in Indonesia, his first time over here. Kylie Elmers and him are good friends, and I think Scott wanted to come over and see the racing, and he's been having a great time. Right now, he's doing great as well. He's in 9th. Scott Phillips had a 1:44.956 on that last lap. And his boat number 18 you're looking at. That is Eric Stan Berestan, and Eric Stan did he had a great run in the first one. Right now he's back at 14th. I was just taking a look to see where he was. He was not in the top 10 in that first moto. He was, however, in the top 10 yesterday. Yeah, he ended up, Adsal Berestan actually was in 6th yesterday. There's the Dairi Regency, just a quick shot of it. And back to the drama on the Wada. Still keeping that boat hooked up, but I'm noticing a few more challenges as we work through this series. It is getting rougher, particularly in certain areas on that track, and Francois Midori is enduring some pretty tough conditions right there. I am impressed with how he's keeping that boat hooked up. Now, part of the way that he is doing that, as I mentioned, is he's moved pretty far back on that boat, and the angle on the handlebars for him are pretty different between his I almost said stand-up, on his closed course runabout boat versus the endurance boat. He's going to laugh when he hears that. Just staying very relaxed. Love the fact that he's got a GoPro on it. A lot of these riders actually will watch the footage. It's a great way of training for them, but also good storytelling for after the races. You're looking at boat 14. That's Teddy Pond, your second place rider with a 1:39.684. Francois Midori on lap number 14 had a 1:41.379. Now, I told you right in the middle of this, maybe towards the 2/3 of the race, Midori's going to bring it in. He's going to reel in the horses just a little bit, and he's just going to manage some resources. And then the final couple of laps you watch, these lap times will definitely start to shift. Pond's also playing a strategic game. 1:41.867. He's right in the money with Francois Midori. Anthony Radatek, however, is hunting. He's got a 1:40. There's book 28. And that is Hillman Kernayuan. Hillman's a little down in points. He's back in 20th right now. Standing up is a way to give them a break. And then just as they come up to the turn, what he's going to do is sit down. That protects him from any unusual shifts from the waves or any of the waves that may come in an odd position that would actually roll their boat or flip him off the boat. So when they come up to a buoy, generally they will sit to play defense, basically. Really fascinated by Teddy Pons' riding style. A little more hunched over. He's leaning forward, which is not unusual, but the hunched shoulders is interesting, and he's very quiet upper body. And that varies from racer to racer. We're at 25.54 on the clock. 35-minute moto plus 1 lap. You're watching Teddy Pons. And you can even see, I love it, he sponsored himself. Easy Rider on the side of the boat. Hey, look, if you're going to get sponsors, I think you should sponsor yourself to start. I'm sure they've got a lot of great sponsors. He keeps promising me a rider profile. I'm just going to give him a hard time and call him out on the live stream. I know a little bit about him, but I mainly know Teddy as a mechanic. I knew he had raced, but I had not realized till I talked to some of my friends last night just how talented he really was. What a cool view. That's the backstretch that you're watching, as these guys really have to be careful back here. This is some rough water. They're looking at about 1.5 to 2 foot waves. The challenge is not just the wave height, though. I've noticed on these lakes, particularly Lake Toba, the waves are very close. It's not like surf or offshore at all. You're not timing the waves, you're just enduring that gap between them, and the whole point of it is try to keep that nose up. Right now it's working great. I could just see somebody waving in the forescreen there. They're boat was going down. And attrition is also a big factor. We started with 33 boats yesterday. We're down to 27, and that was just starting the moto this morning. It looked like we lost 2 more this afternoon, so we'll be able, hopefully they'll get them back and be able to make it back to the water tomorrow. All 3 of these cups will be culminating into a final point system, and that point system will be what gives them a world title at the end of this tomorrow night. You can see all of the people coming and joining us, hanging out here. We've had thousands of people up on the shoreline. And Jimenez continues to hunt. He has not been able to overcome the Japanese rider, Isahai Hajime. So Ruben Jimenez still in 5th, which, by the way, is hugely impressive considering he was back in out of it in 10th, 12th place starting on the starting race. Philin Salih, on the other hand, has been able to continue charging. He moved up, got around the Chinese rider Huang Ri, and he is up in 7th. Ege still got 6th, your Indonesian rider, Ege's Ratak. And that is Midori hunting down boat 95. That's lap traffic. Fikri Rajab, another great Indonesian rider. Ege's sister was out here racing yesterday, but unfortunately we had a little too close bonding happening, and she broke her boat. She won't be able to compete this weekend anymore. But it was really fun watching her. And Ege's, by the way, just won the Balagi Series in 2024, got 2nd this year in Jakarta. Midori cruising through this lap traffic, 29-21. You know, the other thing I'm noticing that's different from moto number 1, in this second moto, light is not their friend, because this flat light, we've had much cloudier conditions this afternoon. It's cooled off. The cooling off helps the engine, but the flat light is detrimental to these riders because it's hard for them to see how deep the troughs are between these waves. So a lot of it is just predicting. So far that's worked out very well for the 2 French riders, both Midori and Pons. Midori once again standing, giving those legs and lower back relief. I talked to him, he broke his wrist last year. I've talked about that quite a bit this weekend, and I think part of that is because I'm still in awe that he was racing last year with a broken wrist. He didn't realize it was that bad, but he went through all 4, actually it was 3 motos, I believe, in Runabout GP1, taking the overall win after a grueling season and a broken wrist. I mean, nothing short of miraculous that he was able to pull that off. He is an incredible athlete. So you can see that flat light, and even you, it's kind of hard, right, for you and I to even see these waves. Speaking of waves, Anthony Radatek making some, still 3rd. And he said, this has a lot harder than it looks. Oh, nice defense. Anthony coming in very tight to that buoy on the turn. They're only going to do that if they feel like it. The reason he did that is he finally got around, well, he did, it was already around Isahai, but Isahai was trying to get around him. Isahai Hajime was making a move on Anthony Radatek. And he is not done pushing Anthony. We're on to that front stretch, so Isahai's got a moment here to try to run him down, and Anthony Radatek is holding him off. So far, the U.S. is holding off Japan, but just barely. Boat number 9, that's Ezio Lucchesi, unfortunately getting an Uber back in. Francois Midori, unusual, took a quick look back and taking a look out over the course as he continues the quest. 31:43, does not have a lot of time left. Now 4 more minutes and then he should get a white flag. And there's Isahai Hajime. This gentleman is so famous in Japan. Him and Jun Akoma both are Japan's bright lights in jet ski racing. And he has been Just incredible. And I think what else is really cool about Isahai is he's 54 years old. There's Anthony Radatek still holding him off. And Teddy Pons drop it back. So Teddy Pons, boat, I don't know what's happening. Let me just double check on that before I give you a total. But it is looking, based on the timing, like Teddy Pons went back into fourth. Anthony Radatek, military veteran, coming through. And it is showing on this timing that he has moved up into second. So Midori 140.659, Radatek second with a 139.224, and Isahai Hajime with a 139.240. I did not see Teddy Pons go down. They're showing Teddy Pons back and forth, so maybe engine trouble, maybe just a timing check. I'll let you know. Just following out on the water. The water conditions are deteriorating for these riders. Yep, just taking a look back, and I don't see Teddy Pons behind Midori. So Teddy Pons officially is off of this pace. That is going to move everybody up. Francois Midori leading, Anthony Radatek second, Isahai Hajime in third, Teddy Pons fourth so far. Ruben Jimenez still fifth. Eges Ratag, the young gun from Indonesia, in sixth. Valent Salih in seventh. Huang Ra in eighth, and Scott Phillips in ninth. Kylie Elmers in 10th. So running the countries down, and the final couple of minutes here, you've got France followed by the US, Japan, France again, Spain, Indonesia, Cambodia, China, and Australia in your top 10. A 140.659 for Francois Midori. And looks like our race director, Marco Petrini, is getting the checkered flag ready to go for Francois Midori on our final lap. So Francois Midori, Anthony Radatek, Isahai, and the heartbreak is really Teddy Pons. Teddy Pons had a spectacular race from start to the final 2 minutes before that white flag popped out. And Teddy Pons now moving backwards. And that's not where he wants to be. But you know what? That fuel relay is a tricky thing. And I guess maybe that is what it is, or something else happened. And you could see Midori looking, and I wonder if he's actually looking for his riding mate. And Teddy Pons, of course, is mechanic as well. Francois Midori cruising through the final couple of turns as he gets ready to take a checkered flag, and that'd make a deuce. He's going to get back-to-back, or a pair of bookends, if you will, wins for this gentleman from France. Meanwhile, the double deuce, Anthony Radatek, who literally told me during the break, I'm just going to cruise. I'm not even going to try. I'm so tired, Don. And he does not look like he's tired at all. I think he faked it. Midori standing up as he gets ready for this final couple of turns. Again, that's just a bit of relief for him. He's going to sit as soon as he comes up on one of those buoys just to protect the position. And he's also going to make sure that he holds off anybody else on that. There's Anthony Radatek, your second place. Mr. Alabama himself. Checkered flag drops for Francois Midori, taking the win. What a beautiful run for this gentleman from Corsica, France. Outstanding job for a gentleman that didn't even finish Moto number 1. And he has done nothing but do redemption ever since. It's going to be Anthony Radatek in second. Oh, Isahai Hajime just barely missed it for that third place spot. Nice run for top 3. You've got France once again, the US, and Japan on that top 3. And let me get you the podium. I think it is going to be Midori, of course, first. Anthony second, and it might be Isahai for third overall. We'll get you those points when we do the award ceremony. But unofficially, that's how it looks for the podium this afternoon. You've been watching the racing here at the Dairi Regency, right in Sumatra, Indonesia. Do you see that? I can't make this stuff up. Look how gorgeous this is behind these riders. If you ever want to go to a place for ecotourism, I'm telling you, you've got to put Sumatra on the map. This is one of the prettiest areas I've ever seen. And the fact that they have a freaking super volcano here, that is even more cool. This lake is one of the largest super volcanic lakes literally in the world. They're at 2,900 feet elevation, and it's one of the deepest lakes as well, over 1,500 feet deep. A lot of great fishing, a lot of cool tourism opportunities, and you're getting a chance to hang out here. That's us, actually. You're watching the flag, checker flag come through in the live stream as everybody gets to take a breather. That's Isahai Hajime. Dude, you were this close. This close. So fun to watch the final couple there. All right, there's your results once again for race number 2. Francois Midori, boat number 4, the rider from France, takes the win. Anthony Ratatek from the U.S. for second, and Isahai Hajime from Japan rounds out your top 3. Ruben Jimenez, you are a monster. He went from top 10, he was actually out of it in 11th on the start, went all the way up to the 4th place spot, and then Teddy Pons in 5th. It's going to be Egis Ratag in 6th, Valen Sali 7th, Wang Rui 8th, Scott Phillips 9th, Mikhail Wimley rounds out your top 10. Guys, I've had a great time. I hope you've enjoyed it. I tell you what, we are going to fight the weather here a little bit, so the team is telling me wrap it up, baby, because we got to get ready to head back to base camp tonight. We'll see you tomorrow as we go to our final round of endurance. That is going to be over in Parapet. Get ready for the Simalungun Cup. We'll come at you with that tomorrow. I'm Don Dawson. On behalf of me and the rest of the team, have a great afternoon. We'll see you mañana.